So I'm out here today with my media blasting cabinet and I want to do a little modification onto it. And let me just say, in the last video, somebody suggested that I use a laser cleaner to take all that rust off the Ferris wheel. And I am all for that. If you have a laser cleaner that you want to send me, my email address is down there in the video description. I would be happy to hear from you. Or if you've got somebody who wants to dip all these parts for me, I would be happy to hear from you as well. But barring all of that, I think we're going to stick to sandblasting them because it's the equipment that I have and it's what I can afford to do. So the plan for today is to cut an inlet hole and an outlet hole to make a pass through. We're going to cover them with brushes to prevent hopefully most of the sand from coming out. And then we'll also make cover plates so that when we take this back in the shop, we can cover those up completely and not have any sand loss. But I think that will work. I don't see why it wouldn't work. And we just need to figure out where our hole placement is going to be for our pass through. We need to make sure there's enough room in there for the gun and the gloves. So we probably want it to be back here in the back third of the cabinet, I would think, to give us working room up here. So that's what we're going to get after today. All right, so I've got this rather large hole saw that I want to use, and I was hoping to use something just a little bit smaller, but my next smallest size down is not large enough to pass through the parts of the Ferris wheel that I want to pass through. So we're stuck with using this one. I think it's going to be fine though. So I think we need to measure here. We're about 19 inches. I don't want to be directly above that inlet. We'll put it at 7 inches. 7 inches might be pretty good. 7 inches. That's good. Center of those is about 6 inches up. So let's do that. What will that give me if I put that there? The one thing I need to think about is where my brushes are going to go, though. I wish this wasn't here. I wish that was anywhere else but there, because my brushes need to have a place to go. Doing some measurements inside here right now. This looks like I need to be at least 12 inches back. 12 inches back, yeah, I gain a little bit, but not much. Recalculating. 8 inches up from the bottom. Oh, that raises it substantially. I feel a lot better about that. Now, can I do this without ripping my arms off or breaking my wrists? Getting there. Man, should have put a piece of wood on the inside of this temporarily. These are the brushes we're going to use. These can be cut down. We'll have a set on the inside and a set on the outside. So that gives me a nice size. I'll take a file to that. If I'm in here, I'm right at the opening there. I should be able to turn the piece, slide it in and out. It should work pretty good. But if not, all I have to do is make a cover plate, and we're no worse off than we ever were. I just need to do one on the other side now. All right, let's just double check our measurement. 12 by 8. We did that one pretty evenly. Well, that was both harder and easier than I expected. I didn't expect the hole saw to catch quite so much, but it actually cut pretty well, so I'm happy with the end result. So next I need to figure out how big I want these brushes to be. I need to cut the brushes themselves to length, and then I need to decide how wide they're going to be. Well, you know, before I go too far declaring victory here, I should probably get one of the spokes or the rim irons from the Ferris wheel and make sure it's going to fit through here. Here we go. All right, we are really starting to lose our daylight here, but I think this is going to work. This is the largest piece right here, where all the cross cables connect. So if that fits through, we're in good shape. But like I say, we are losing our daylight here, so I'm going to take some measurements, figure out how big my brushes can be, and what other things I'm going to need to complete this project, and we'll pick it up again tomorrow.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Ride of the Week. Each week we scour the internet to bring you a different classic ride that's fallen on hard times and are now looking for a new lease on life.
This week's Ride of the Week comes from the pages of Facebook Marketplace. This is a 1989 Venture Granny Bug in the Midwest that's looking for a new home. Venture turned out a ton of these rides over the years that they referred to as Venture Go-Rounds. There were numerous different themes available, all with 6 fiberglass tubs going around a center with scenery that matched the theme. The Granny Bug would typically have a mushroom or sometimes an apple in the center, but there's no sign of this piece in the listing. Venture had a lot of fiberglass tubs and scenery that they would mix and match on various ride configurations. Hey, if you know of a vintage ride that's in need of rescuing, get in touch. You can contact us by email at rescue@peterondeau.com or aim your smartphone at that QR code and it'll fire off an email to us.
And that's been this week's Ride of the Week.
So we got these plates made up, just a 6.5 inch diameter. Should work good for covering it when it's in the shop. I need to find some paint, and wow, would you look at that. We don't have too many choices for red. I think I'm going to use that because there's more in there. This one, I don't know if there's enough in that can to do what I need to do. I think that's close enough. Let that dry and do the other side. All right, warm weather, do your thing. So while the paint's drying on those discs, I got a little bit of work here I want to do on the cabinet. I need to get rid of some rough edges from cutting those holes. And also then, I did go and cut the brushes to size to 6x6. I've also cut the rails to size. So next thing I want to do is figure out exactly where in the cabinet they're going to go. And I'm going to try to put as few holes in this as possible. So these are our brushes, and I'm currently thinking about having 2, one on the inside and one on the outside. I need to figure out if I can reuse any of the holes, and it really doesn't look like it. This is the pattern for our cover plates. I was hoping to be able to reuse some of these holes. You can see how this might fit here, but that would only give me 1 hole at the top. My goal here is you can see the shadow, so that's going to help us find the center. Let's mark these so I don't lose them. All right. Temporary bolts in for alignment purposes. The red does not match exactly, but it's good for what it is. So we need to drill holes in these rails that hold the brushes, and where the holes go is not really important because we haven't put the holes in the Sandblaster yet, but what is important to me is I want them all to be the same so that they're interchangeable. To do that, I'm going to drill a bunch of holes in the one end, and then we're going to move to the other end and drill all the holes in those ends. Alright, now we're gonna move to the other end. This way it doesn't matter if all these pieces are the same length or not, because we're always measuring off the same side. This drill press should be going faster, but I don't want to change the belts. I can put these in place and mark them. I really like these reach markers. I tend to use them for everything, even if I'm not trying to go down a hole. If anybody knows why I shouldn't put them there, speak now or forever hold your peace. Ah, this chuck. It's ruining all my drill bits. Okay, well, it's lining up on the inside. Put some nuts on it. Well, now I just need to repeat the process for the other side. So there's that side. So there's the majority of what we just did. Do some video with the camera in this position, but you can't really see very well through this. Now, one of the things I did was I took the grate out of the bottom that the parts normally sit on. Occasionally this thing has trouble picking up the sand, and I don't need the grate here because things are sitting here. So I figured if I took the grate out, it would allow me to stir the sand up if I needed to, or pull it back down to the pickup tube. So that all seems to work pretty well. I could probably switch to a slightly coarser grade sand, and that would help as well. But I'm happy with this. This should work pretty well. It's a way forward anyways to get this job done, unless somebody out there wants to give me a laser rust remover. Some small amount of sand has escaped onto the table, but nothing compared to what it would have been if I was out here with the big Sandblaster. So this is, you know, almost entirely self-contained. I wouldn't want to use it inside like this, but for outside use, this will work pretty well, I think. Let's try a new sheet. See if that helps at all. You can certainly see better. The thing that seems really strange here is that it appears like the rust is on top of a layer of paint. We can see the bare metal. Looks like a red primer, or maybe a previous red color, and then blue paint, and then rust on top of the blue paint. Everywhere that I've sandblasted, that's the way it looks.